Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. Today we're working on the 25th anniversary car, Pauline, and we've started on carpet. Okay, we have started on carpet. Now normally I would start with the trunk, and the reason I usually start with the trunk is that it takes a while sometimes to kind of get into a rhythm or get into the swing of things when you're using the spray adhesive, because you have to get used to the spray pattern of whatever the spray glue that you're using. I tend to always use the 90 plus from 3M or Scotch, and the spray tips on those are fairly consistent. So once you kind of get a feel for how the glue is spraying, you're good. Doing the carpet is not one of my favorite things, and here's why. I don't mind the actual carpeting part. What I just despise is that taste of the glue in your face. Not that I'm eating the glue, but that airborne adhesive, in the air, gets into your nasal passages and your mouth, your throat, and you taste the glue for 2 or 3 days. Now I do wear a respirator, so I wear, let's see if I've got it around here. Here it is. I do wear a respirator with the filters in it, and I do change these from time to time, and it works really good. Now, since I've started using the respirator, I typically don't spray enough glue in one particular day or all at one time that I get the taste of the glue in my mouth anymore, in my nasal passages. So it's gotten better. So if I can offer you any advice, use a respirator. At the very least, wear some type of particle mask, but you're still going to get that taste. And then the second reason that I don't like the carpeting is because I end up with all of these black pieces of carpet all around the shop. And if the doors on the shop are open, it just exasperates the situation because it just blows that stuff everywhere. And so there you go. There's the two reasons I don't like carpeting. But like I said, once I get kind of in a rhythm, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So let me turn the camera around. Like I said, I normally start on the trunk, but since I had that seam that I'm still trying to get, that wrinkle out of the trunk carpeting, and I think I mentioned that in the previous video. If not, I'll mention it now. When they fold the carpet up and they put it in the box, that's the largest piece, that piece for the trunk. And so they have to fold it in 4s. And so I ended up with this giant crease right down the center of the trunk. And I'm trying to get that carpet to relax. I've left it out in the sun for a couple of days. I've left it inside of the trunk of the car for a couple of days. And I'll probably end up getting to that before the end of this video. So there's that. The lift, the 4-post lift, makes it so much easier to do this carpeting, because I can just about do everything right at eye level. I can lift the car up high enough that I'm just reaching right in. And now you can really see how much better it makes it to get in to do these foot boxes. So for instance, this piece comes cut this way. So once you put your spray adhesive, and you can see some residue of the spray adhesive on the fat mat just above the carpeting. This piece comes as one piece, so it's from this corner to that corner. The other side does not. It comes as like a piece that wraps around. So what I do is I cut it. We'll walk over there and I'll show you. Now, I still am having issues with Factory 5 in this carpeting. Now, it's most likely because I'm adding the fat mat, and so that's adding distance from the far side of the foot box over on the passenger side to this side on the driver's side. And I'm running out of carpet before I get to the end. So what I've done, and what I typically do, is I end up with a small piece right here behind the accelerator, which you can't really be seen. And then what I do is I cut along here, and then I put a new one piece in here. So this is a piece that I cut from some excess carpet that I had upstairs. It's the same Factory 5 carpet. It's just whenever I see someone giving away or selling their carpet, I buy it, and then I use all those pieces for stuff like this. So this is a piece that I actually cut, fit, and then glued in. On the tunnel, I end up with excess. So I generally start from this corner and work my way back. And so I cut a good inch off of this carpet on the end. And you can see I don't have the top of the tunnel covered because we're going to do our hardboard top that we're going to cover with vinyl on here. And so I cut about an inch up here, and I glued it down. Now, if you ever have to pull the tunnel top, you just have to kind of peel the carpet back a little bit, get to the screws, and pull that aluminum cover off. So not a big deal. I'll show you a little trick that I do for the back wall. What I do is I take some spring clips. Got some over here. So I take these spring clips. You can get these at any hardware store, I believe. But I take the spring clip and I hold the carpet. So I put one here and I put one over on that side. I position the carpet where I want it. And then what I do is I start from the bottom up. So I'll actually take this carpet before I put glue on. I'll lift it up, fold it back over itself, spray the bottom portion with glue, both the carpet and the fat mat, and then I'll carefully fold it back down and put it into place. Then I pull the spring clips off. I fold it down this way, do the same thing, spray glue the back and spray glue the fat mat, and then I go ahead and I put it in place. And it makes it really nice. Gives me the chance to make sure I've got even margins on each side. Then what I do is I place these to butt up against that piece. And if they come out and they're longer here, then I just trim the excess right here. Now, I, at the top, do not glue it where the bulb seal is. So right along here where the bulb seal is, the carpet's just resting against there. But right up here, the carpet is glued to the back of the cockpit. So you can see, like from here, it kind of looks like there's a bump or a bubble on the carpet right there. And that's just that it's sitting, the carpet's sitting against that bulb seal right here, and so it kind of bunches up a little bit. It'll flatten out over time. So same thing over here. I've got the side of the tunnel all done. The foot box is done. That's for the bottom. This is the piece that I was talking about that I cut. So here's the other half of it right here with my tools sitting on top of it. So what I do is I glue this piece in and leave it long, and then I come back here and I just trim it with a single edge razor blade right down the side and make it nice and neat. What I'll do with this piece is it'll get glued in to the piece that actually makes the outside of the foot box here. So it will go in and get riveted in at the end right before the body goes on. You can see we've still got all our rivet holes in here and it's ready to go in. It's just that I haven't done that yet because I'm not quite done in the foot boxes. So that'll get you caught up to where I am right now. And so what I'm going to work on the rest of today is getting as much of the carpeting in the cockpit done as I can, so that hopefully tomorrow I can be working on the trunk and get the trunk done. Because once the carpet's in, then I can put the seat bases in, the seats will be ready to go in, the harnesses can go in, the dash can go in, and then we'll be that much closer to getting this thing back over to Jeff Miller's to get the completed body put on it. Music update, Van Halen. Love comes walking in. I think I started this morning on this carpet, what was left of the cockpit carpeting, at about 11 o'clock. And it's, I think it's 5:30. Oh no, 10 minutes to 6. But I've been farting around. I posted some pictures on Facebook and some other stuff. So let's say 5:30. So I've been at it most of the day. And I've got all the cockpit carpeting done. So, well, I've got all the carpeting that I can finish right now done. I still have to do the sill plates under the doors, but I can't do that until the body goes on and the sill plate little extension pieces go in. So, let me turn the camera around. We'll take a look. All right, I'm going to start here in the foot box. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tip. I'm going to show you a tool to use to get these nice crisp lines in your corners. Now, ignore the glue. I'm going to go back. This carpeting is going to be vacuumed probably a dozen or two, times before we ever, return the car or give the car to the car owner. So a series of vacuuming and all this glue remnants is all going to disappear. But you can see the nice crisp lines in the carpet where the folds are. The floor is all finished in here. The bump out for the dead pedal, I guess is what we're calling it. And I added a piece above that piece. I just didn't want to see all of the fat mat. And I may do the same thing. You can just see the fat mat above the pedals right there. I may add a piece of carpeting in there. I haven't decided yet. You can't see it when you're seated in the car, and the only time you can see it is when the car's up on the lift. But I carpeted this piece over here anyway because it bothered me. So that's done. You can see the piece right here that goes underneath the door and the nice crisp line in the corner that I got for that. And that piece wraps all the way around to the front side. Now, I cut this in two pieces, so the floor is actually shipped as one piece, or it was for the 25th anniversary car. So it goes all the way down, and then it drops down in the front, and then it extends into the rest of the foot box. I cut this from here to here so that the piece on the floor went in independently. And here's why. That piece that goes in the driver's foot box is the first piece of carpeting that's going to wear. And when it wears, usually what happens is as you're putting your feet in there, the glue eventually will just give out, and that piece will you'll basically just be able to lift it out. So if you use that old piece as a pattern, you can get some carpeting that's similar, close to it. You can cut using the existing piece as a pattern, put some glue on it, throw a new piece in. This is it, if you're not using floor mats or something like that. I do it all the time on Slytherin. So every couple of years, that piece gets so worn through because I'm getting in and out of the car that it gets to the point where I just replace it. And like I said, I keep all of those remnants of all these other carpet kits that we either haven't used because the customers have chosen to do a different carpeting, or that I get from other people that haven't used it who are selling it or giving it away. So I always have pieces of this carpeting. So that's why I cut that separately. I didn't want to have to cut it in the future. I didn't want the owner to have to cut this if he ever had to take that piece out and replace it. So you can see we've got just about everything wrapped up in here. So the the back wall I showed you before, the back of the tunnel, the sides of the tunnel, everything's nice and crisp. The edges are all nice and straight. And as I walk around to the other side, I'm going to give you kind of a tip on the order of how to do things. Save your floor till last. Reason is, all the pieces, because we've added fat mat, are generally going to be too big. The carpeting pieces. The one exception is this piece that wraps around that I talked about earlier in the video. Since this piece goes from this corner all the way around the front and all the way into the driver's foot box, it runs about 3/4 of an inch short. And the way I get around it is the way I told you. I cut it off square and I add in a little piece, and it's in the back of the foot box and you never see it. You're not going to abuse it because it's behind the pedal and you can't actually get to it, with your feet to abuse it anyway. So do your floor of your cockpit last. And that way what you can do is trim it in small increments. If you need it a 3/4 of an inch smaller, cut it at a half and then fit it. And then if you still need a little bit more, cut an 1/8 off. So that you creep up on that measurement to get it fit nice and tight, and then you'll have these nice corners all the way around the outside. Now, since we're here with the boot, and I've got a bunch of garbage on there from drilling, the boot is designed to bend on the bottom. So there's a steel like rod inside there. And if you look, the floor is open right here. So if you put a bend in this about 3/4 of an inch in, and same thing on this side, 3/4 of an inch in, and then fasten your screws in, you cover up that gap in the floor, and you don't have to add any supplemental pieces that are going to interfere with the working of the actual brake handle itself. This gives full action of the brake handle, and then you will not have any issue with air leakage into the cockpit. Now, because of the Wilwood pedal, because of the Wilwood brakes, I only have like 1 or 2 clicks to get this brake set, so I can't get to the area behind here where I would normally put another screw. I thought about adding one here, but I'm going to leave that up to the car owner if he wants to add one later, because you know it's still tight against the carpet here, and I don't see any reason to add an extra screw unless I absolutely have to. So let me grab the tool that I use to do the corners and give you an idea of how to get these corners nice and crisp and, you know, smooth. Okay, here's the tool that I use. Now, they sell these in a 4-pack at Harbor Freight. They sell them as trim tools for like working on upholstery for like door panels and stuff like that. So it comes with one of these. It comes with a similar one of these with like a more of a 90-degree hook on the end. And there's some wider ones too. So I think it's a 4-piece set. And I use this to get all of these corners nice and crisp. I can use a lot of pressure in the corner to smooth these out and get these corners nice and smooth and crisp. Same thing like with this corner right here. So once I started gluing this, I wrapped the piece to here, keeping the rest of the piece out here, and then I use this tool to get in here and get that corner nice and tight before I wrapped it around. That way you don't need to use any clamps, you don't need to use anything like that to get the carpet put in. Now I will say the owner bought some of the 3M Super 77 glue, and because he bought it and I wanted to use it up, I used it in the areas that I knew weren't going to be subject to abuse. So basically, this footbox side, this right here, I did that in the 77. I did most of this floor. So this floor from this point here all the way back, I used the Super 77 on. And then the same thing on the driver's side. And at that uses up a lot of glue because those are big panels. And I think I used about 3/4 of the can between the panels on that side, the floor and the side of the footbox, and then the floor and the side of this footbox over on the driver's side. And for everything else, I use a Super 90 because it's the only stuff I've had good luck with. I don't like the Weldwood contact cement. I think it's just messy, and the smell of it is even worse. I don't like using like vinyl or carpet floor adhesive that they sell at the home centers. I just don't think that it tacks up quick enough. The pieces move. You know, you lean against them and stuff like that, and they shift, and then you got to go back and reposition them. So with the Super 90, you don't have a whole lot of working time. Basically, you spray both sides and you get a position and you stick it down, it's stuck. You try to get it off, you're going to pull the yarn through the backing. But that'll give you a pretty good idea of how I do it. And like I said, on the order of things, I do all of the outside panels first. So the cockpit back, the cockpit sides, the tunnel sides, the footbox sides, the footbox front. Then I tackle the floor because it's so much easier just to trim that one piece down to size than to trim all of the pieces as you're building on top of it. So this way I only trimmed the pieces that went in the floor. Everything else went in full size for the most part. I mean, there were some pieces that just didn't quite fit, like like on these pieces here. I trimmed these across the side here to make them fit. But that's about it. So tomorrow I'm going to tackle the trunk. I'll bring you guys back for that. And hopefully that'll conclude this video. All right, next day. So after I turned the camera off last night, I decided that I was going to get a little more work done. And so I decided to go ahead and mount the seat bases in the car. So I took a soldering iron through the holes and basically just cauterized all of the holes through the actual chassis and into the carpeting, so that I had a nice clean spot to get the bolts through. So it's done on this side and on the other side, and I've started carpeting the trunk, so I'll show you that in a second. And then over here, where I have a roll bar and some seatbelt bolts. So here's the one on the passenger side. So that's all done. Like I said, I've got the seatbelt bolts that I brought down since I found them upstairs, and I have a roll bar here because I needed to mount the forward, what are they, ball studs for the trunk struts. So I've got both of those mounted. I'm not really happy with the way they fit in there. Basically, you have to put the roll bar in and then position that bracket so that it doesn't hit the roll bar, neither the strut or the bracket. But now, the way it is, as the seatbelt's fed through, the side of the seatbelt is going to rub on it too. So now I've got to figure out something to put on there to insulate the bracket from marring up the seatbelt. So, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But they're in. So after I did that, I pulled the actual hinges back out of the car and I stored them because I wanted to get to work on the carpeting. And so you can see I've got the carpet floor in. And the way I do this is I actually cut it. So this was all one piece. The top and the bottom, where it would cover up our drop trunk mod, was all one piece. And it's very unmanageable that way. And so what I did is I made a mark. I folded it over right here in the corner, and I took my razor blade and I cut a little slit in it there. And then I did the same thing over here. I cut a little slit in it over here. Then I took it out to the bench and I cut it right across there, which made that piece a lot more manageable. So I got that piece in first. And then if you remember, I pre-cut pieces of fat mat for these sides. So I went ahead, I used those as templates, covered them with carpeting, and then I put them in, fat mat and all. So they actually went in with the adhesive back of the fat mat rather than doing that and then gluing them and getting glue all over. Because you can see as you try to glue this stuff, even though I masked this all off, the spray can has a mind of its own and got some glue on these sides. But I think I've decided we're going to carpet these panels, so we'll cut some patterns for fat mat and we'll carpet these, so each side here. And then I drilled holes for my lights. I'm going to put my lights right here. I'm going to feed them out of the top and then over to our switch. So what I'm working on now is I'm working on this piece in the back. So I've got a piece cut for that. Again, I'm pulling out scraps from upstairs from other carpet kits I bought. And then this piece is the piece that was the bottom section of carpeting for the trunk. Now, what I did is I left it long. I left it about 5.5 inches long here so that I could fold it down and into our drop trunk. So I'm trying to make all these pieces to where the seams are hard to see. So I'll have a seam here, which the trunk floor actually comes up to here. So the opening, the trunk opening is like right in here. And so you're not going to see this. And this piece will wrap over and we'll cut around this. And then this piece over here will start up here and wrap down. There will be a piece in the back here that will go in just as one piece. And then this piece right here is just going to wrap around from top under. And so that'll be another piece. And then the last piece will be the drop trunk floor bottom. And then, like I said, I'll make templates. I actually have the template that I pulled down from upstairs. I have both those side piece templates here. So I have, I'll bring them over to the car. So I have a template for this right here. And then I have a template for this right here. But I don't think I'm going to do this one. I think I'm just going to do the other one. And I don't have to do either one of them because honestly, the panels are already powder coated. So they look nice already. But I thought the lights might look better. It might disguise the lights a little better if I had carpet on those, and that's my reasoning for putting the carpet on those. But I'm still undecided. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel when I get the rest of this carpeting done. So I'll bring you guys back when I'm a little closer to being done with this. All right, much later in the day, we even had a pop-up thunderstorm here. During the day, I had to move all my stuff inside where I was cutting outside. You can see the sky up here is kind of murky. So we're getting intermittent rain. So anyways, I wanted to bring you back and show you the completed carpet in the trunk. Now, I still have to clean up. I mean, like I said, I've still got glue on stuff. I've got to make covers. Now, I think these may be, if I remember right, these are powder coated black. I may just put them in powder coated black and leave them. I'll talk to the owner and find out what he wants to do. That knife right there is showing where my light is going to go. I've got a hole drilled into the side of the chassis there, and that scratch all, same thing on that side. So I'm waiting for my soldering iron to heat up, and then I'm going to make those holes. But I think I'll bring you all back tomorrow when I get this a little bit cleaned up, because I mean, the shop, like I said, the carpeting fibers get everywhere. And so now that I'm done with the glue, I think I'll start cleaning stuff up and making the shop a little more presentable tomorrow evening, and then do a wrap up on this. See you tomorrow. All right, everybody, next day, fall is here, along with the fall allergies. But I wanted to do a wrap up on the carpeting. So, on the driver's side of the car, you can see, I think I still may do a small piece of carpeting right here. I'm kind of torn. You can't see it from the seated position. You really have to stick your head like down inside the foot box to see that, but I think it's gonna bug me. So I'm gonna probably go ahead and put a piece of carpeting right there. But as you can see, I've got one of the seats kind of just setting in there. I've got the dash in temporarily. And I wanted to show y'all how I carpet these panels when they're out of the car. So this is the driver's side panel. You can see the bump out in it right here. And you can see we went ahead and we put heat and sound mat on it. And then the kit only comes with a piece of carpeting for this and this. I added this. So again, I'm kind of OCD when it comes to this stuff, and so that's why I think I'm going to end up putting that other piece in. But when you put this in, you leave this flap so it will hook in the bottom of here. So it'll slide right down into here. And then on the other side, I can show you how it looks when it's all done. I just have the panel in there with Clecos, but you'll be able to see it all finished up. So you can see inside there, it just looks like you carpeted it while it was in. But remember, we cut this into two pieces. So, and you can see the Clecos just holding it in for now. So that's what it looks like when you're all done, and it makes it a lot easier being able to do that with that side panel off. All right, so one thing I want to stress again, when you do these carpeted panels this way, you got to make sure that you keep that bottom edge unglued. So from here down, you can't glue it because that needs to tuck in underneath the other panel. With that, the carpeting on this one is all done. So I'm going to wrap the video up here. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, comment if you like. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great day.